Hi, Music of the Future. My name's Lily, artist named Lily J, and I'm a music producer and sound designer. So I'm currently based in the French Alps outside of Grenoble. I work, my career, my job is a sound designer. I've been with the company Arturia. You're probably familiar with it if you own a Key Lab or any of Arturia's software since. I've been a sound designer with them now for 4 years, even though it's been 1.5 years that I'm full-time with them. But my journey with electronic music started over 10 years ago. I started producing in Montreal when I was studying there. I discovered the techno scene. I started to work on Ableton Live, and so I got really interested in recording and mixing acoustic elements with synthesizers. So my music is like I like to call it organic electronic because it mixes that like hot and cold acoustic and electronic worlds together. And so I still make my music on the side, and I play live sets whenever I can. Because of COVID, I was playing a lot of live streams lately, and so I also, whenever I can, I play, for an actual audience. I'm scheduled to play at the Hadra Trance Festival. It's a big trance festival with also like an alternative scene, an alternative stage this summer in France. So I use a lot of, since I work for Arturia, I use a lot of Arturia software and hardware synths. You can see I have the Polybrute here, the polyphonic synth by Arturia. It's kind of like the flagship of Arturia and hardware. But in my music, I mainly use the V collection. So I use Analog Lab a lot because I have my bank and my playlists of presets from different software synths. You really love to use the DX7, the SQ80. These are like pretty recent additions to the V collection. Other than that, I use a lot of contact instruments, especially cello, kinetic metal. I like to find the interesting timbres. Also, like recently started to use a lot the mosaic keys by Native Instruments. And then I use a ton of splice because I love to look for samples, and I love to edit and sculpt and splice, split up samples. So I'm doing a lot of that as well. I have a Micro Freak that I sometimes use as well, but I do a lot of recording. So I have 2 different microphones, and I also have a stereo pair, a Rode M5, where I record different sound sources, including my cello, my piano when I have access to them, and vocals, of course. And the latest sound effect I really love to use is the fragments. EFX fragments by Arturia, so it's a granular effect, and just try to put that on your drums or on anything, and it creates really amazing results to vary and to mix it up. So if I had 5 tips for startups or artists or bands, it would be to always trust yourself, number 1. Number 2, to always do your best, and once you've done your best, just relax and don't be hard on yourself. To always be curious, to never just become blasé, but to be curious about everything around you. To try different routes, to try different techniques or options, especially when you feel stuck somewhere, and even if it seems unlikely to work or a bit unorthodox, just try different things. And the last one is to always try to remember why you do what you do. Remember why it is you do what you do. Why it is you love what you do. And finally, I have shared some of my links. I have a link tree which has a lot of shortcuts, like to my YouTube videos. I have YouTube that you can please follow, which would be great because I have a lot of, I upload regularly. I have a Bandcamp. I have a ton of new EPs. Not a ton at the same time, but I release regularly, I try to. And also on my SoundCloud, I have all my live sets and podcasts. And finally, on my website, if you subscribe to it, you get a free high-quality track in WAV. So you can also try that out. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.